Derek, you're gonna wanna scoot that rifle a little bit over so you're not laboring to get over to one side on it. Makes sense? Yours too, so we're gonna wanna slide over. So remember, we're still trying to put that recoil impulse kind of to our core, you know, where we have the most bulk. So if you feel that recoil coming out the side of your shoulder, it's probably not a good thing. We want it to kind of feel like it's going through our chest, all right? This is a nice stable position. Obviously the bench is doing most of the work for you. You're gonna feel a little bit more recoil on this, like the muzzle's gonna wanna jump a little bit more because our whole body weight isn't behind it. But we're still gonna load the bipod with our static body weight. We're gonna load into it a little bit with our mass, right? Gonna keep tension on that bipod, and then we're still gonna apply the 4 fundamentals, breathing, and then we're gonna go ahead, squeeze that trigger and follow through and attempt to spot our shot. Now, the target backer's black, which is actually a pretty good thing because I don't want you to focus on where the rounds are going. I just want you to focus on applying the fundamentals and then just making sure that we do the same thing every time. So you're gonna shoot a 5-round group at the middle dot on that target board, all right? We're just shooting a group for consistency. That's all we're doing. And I want you to focus on where you're aiming, replicating that point of aim every single time. Breathing, pulling the trigger every single time. Nice controlled tempo. We're not speeding through it. We're not taking forever. Just a nice cadence of shots. 1 shot every 5-7 seconds. It's pretty good. It's like the best day of work you're ever gonna have. Trust me. All right, you're good to go. Find that target, and then when you're on target, run the bolt forward, and you're good to go. Checklist on this one: body position, sight picture, breathing, trigger control. Remember, weight forward, load that bipod, put some stress on it. Follow through, spot your shot. Use the thumb shelf. Same thing every time, consistency. There we go. Okay, remember to stay on it. You can't see anything with your eyes.
No, I know.
Okay, stay on it, look at the spot your impact through the scope and run the bolt. Do it again. Stay on there. The goal here is to do the same thing over and over and over again without causing any undue influence on the rifle, right? There you go. So a consistent point of aim is what we're after, right? Doesn't matter where the bullet goes. Do you need this bag to kind of be?
Yeah, it needs to be higher.
Okay, you can kind of manipulate it there, and you can slide it in and out, up and down on that. Never follow through, don't come off the trigger. Spot your shot and then run the bolt. All we're trying to do is manipulate the trigger finger. So 90-degree, pulling straight back and holding. Right there, and that's how it should be every single time. Let's bolt up and back and then go ahead and take the mag out. All right, we're gonna shrink that up, but how we're gonna do this is basically applying those fundamentals, right? Applying those 4 fundamentals, and then those will shrink in repetitions, repetition, repetitions. This is not a bad start at all right? We just need to pull the trigger at the same time at the same spot.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
That's not bad. That's under an inch. And Derek is right about an inch as well. All right, so I'm gonna show you guys a little trick. It's called a refined aiming point, all right? So instead of shooting at the middle of that piece of tape, all right, I'm gonna shoot at a corner. So our minds kind of have a hard time, especially with round things. These are a little bit square, but finding the center of something. So you end up hovering, right? But if you give yourself a square, a corner of a square, and that tip, that's easier for you to find, that tip, because it's small and it's precise, right? And also your reticle, what's in there? All you're doing is mating that point to the point. That's it. And you'll watch your group size diminish because you have that refined aiming point. So whether it be a paper target or piece of steel, you always find something smaller than the actual larger target itself, which is essentially what we've done to this. We could aim dead center in the black, right? Yeah. But you're probably going to shoot even larger. If we wanted to adjust our zero, how do you think we'd do that?
Definitely start by taking the caps off.
Right. But how would I know how much to move it?
That's a good question.
Okay, so exactly. So all a reticle is a ruler. It's not in inches or centimeters, right? It's either in minutes of angle. And then you have mil radians. So your reticles are all in MOA, your turrets match your reticles. So if you look through your scope and measure where that group was to the center where you were aiming, you can get a measurement, left, right, up, down, of where that needs to go. And then we move the turrets accordingly of what you've measured with the reticle. So how you want to do this is you want to take the same shooting position you had, nice, stable, don't move the rifle at all. And you can do it two ways. You can put the reticle where you were aiming, so center of that target, and then measure left, right first, or up, down first, however you want to do, and then make that adjustment. Or you can go to where you hit and then dial correspondingly to where you want it to go. So the scope is going to move point of impact. So if I need to move 3 minutes on my scope down, I move it, put that point of impact on the turret down 3 minutes of angle. So that's going to move my shot. So where were your rounds hitting corresponding to where you're aiming? They were landing to the right, so we needed to make an adjustment to the left, correct? It's just a matter of how much. So we can go look at the middle of your group, so take the average, so find the middle of that through your scope, you should be able to see that. And then we're going to measure to the center of that, and that's how much we're going to move it left. Elevation was pretty spot on. So yours were hitting?
They were hitting to the right as well. Elevation was pretty good too.
Pretty good, right? So we're going to go ahead and just measure that, and we're going to move it correspondingly. Derek, you get it.
We're a little high.
Yours were a little high, but how much high?
Barely.
So would you say they were a quarter minute high? A half minute high?
Yet, so let me look.
Okay. And then go ahead and use full magnification to zoom in. Make sure that target is crystal clear with your parallax knob, and then measure that. Go ahead and adjust that parallax knob until that target is crystal clear. It has numbers on that turret itself on the parallax knob that correspond with a yardage. That's a rough estimate, all right? You fine tune it to what you're seeing through the scope. And you do that for every yardage you move in or out. You're going to readjust that parallax. So your scope turrets are in quarter minute adjustments. So every adjustment you go to, so one quote unquote click is a quarter minute. Yours are right about a minute. So if you measured it to the center of where your holes were landing, they were landing to the right.
Yeah.
So we need to move it to the left.
Yeah.
One whole minute. So that's 4 clicks on this. So we see where it says right, rotates this way. Mm-hmm. So we need to move the impact left. So we've 4, 2, 3, 4, and we should be pretty squared up. Your elevation was spot on. So we'll make an adjustment on the scopes, and then you're going to shoot another group and then see how they go.
You ready to go?
Yeah. You're basically draining your body out of oxygen. You're trying to tremble. And remember, you're not holding your breath for any of this. You're holding your breath because you're concentrating. We have to try to break that habit. All right? Remember to run their bolt with your face connected to the rifle. Did you throw one?
No, I just slapped the trigger.
Okay, all right. At least you're recognizing it now. You're conscious of what's going on, which is awesome. That's the goal here. Nice job. That was really smooth.
Two.
Wow.
So look how much that changed.
That's a crazy improvement, man. That's awesome.
Derek, your group size is amazing. Ryan is well under a minute. So you're tracking like awesome. So it shrunk like crazy good.
Awesome.
So usually, like if there's no load inconsistency or rifle inconsistency, anything vertical is going to be breathing, right? Breathing because you're making the rifle go up and down when you're squeezing. So if you even out your breathing, right, and that bottom of that respiratory cycle, that pause and squeeze, it'll suck that down. But we also don't know actually how well these rifles and this ammunition can shoot. So we're getting kind of a better idea, right? So everyone wants to think that they're a quarter-minute shooter, right? And their gun's a quarter-minute gun, and the ammunition they shoot is a quarter-minute. The truth of it is, you shoot enough, you will learn that that's just simply not true. You can attempt to get close to all these things, but you have all these thresholds working against each other, right? All these variables: weather, ammunition, gun, and you. The biggest one's you, right? So don't be discouraged. So you're gonna see group size. You shoot enough groups, 5-round groups, right? You're gonna see group sizes do this. Okay. And it's all these variables either working together or working against each other. Yeah. That's all it is. And you just take that average, that aggregate, and then that gives you a good picture of what you can do and the rifle can do in ammunition, right? So we're trying to reduce all these variables to get a better picture. So that's really what we're doing. So my benchmark when I come out with a new rifle is as long as it's holding 3/4 minute to a minute, I'm pretty happy with that. But if anything outside of there and it's pretty consistent outside of a minute, I'm gonna start looking at variables and see what's going on. Maybe I just had a bad day. Maybe the ammunition I have isn't as good as I think it is. Maybe the rifle, there's something up with it and I need to figure it out. So we're not getting any sort of shifts. Our scopes are holding 0. Ammunition's doing what it's supposed to. So I believe this is all just kind of us.
Cool. So that means that we can improve.